And welcome back, everybody, to the Podcaster Nation. That's right. Welcome back because I know you were just listening to our stuff and you came back because you wanted even more. And you know what? We have more for you. This is the podcast that is about podcasters. It's for podcasters and it's done by podcasters. And our guest today is a podcaster. You figured this out. You cracked our code. My name's Rory Paquette. I love my job. I love my life. I love being here for you guys. This is absolutely fantastic. Love this podcast. You guys have done such a fantastic job. All you listeners out there, all you podcasters who are still supporting us, folks, with all the likes and the subscribes and the shares and everything else you've been doing, we have grown just exponentially. It's been ridiculous, the kind of growth we're having on the show. And it is all because of you. The only reason that I get to sit here and do what I'm doing is because of what you're out there doing to help us out. So thank you very much for that. As we get rolling, please remember, this is the place where we come together as podcasters. This is the place where the rising tide raises all ships. We're here to support one another, including this lovely lady we have on today, who's going to tell us about her new podcast and her new vision and purpose. I can't wait to hear all about it. I've listened to it; it's very good, and we're going to let her tell it in her own words. So please welcome to the program the host of Abiding Love podcast, a mental health and trauma coaching ministry, Brandy Pursley. Brandy, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. It's
Yeah,
an
appreciate
honor.
appreciate you coming on today. Thank you so much. All right, well, I'll tell you what, Brandy, why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners? Tell them who you are, what you do, and why you're here.
Okay. Well, as you know, I'm Brandy Pursley, and I'm the host of Fighting World podcast. I started it this past February. I launched February 11th, I believe. And it's something that God kind of led me to. He just spoke to me one day and said, "You're going to do a podcast." And I was like, okay. Okay, so we're doing this. Um, but anyways, I got got my certification as a mental health coach back in I think April or May of last year. Can't remember exactly what the month was, but and God kind of put it on hold for a little bit. And he's like, I need you to wait on this for a moment. And I said, okay. And then, of course, because we were living in Tennessee at the moment and we ended up moving back to Texas. And so I was like, oh, okay, that's why. And so I just kind of let him lead. And he finally said, yep, it's time. And I said, well, all right, I guess we're doing this. And I just, you know, had to come up with some episodes and some ideas and all that. And that took some doing. I was like, okay, what are we doing with this? Because like I haven't the furthest clue what I'm doing with this. So, and he's like, well, you know what you're supposed to do. You know what you're gonna do. With the mental health and the trauma and stuff. And I said, okay. And he just kind of led me on how to approach it. And he wants, I feel like he wants me to kind of help breach the stigma of mental health and trauma and why so many people believe that Christians don't or shouldn't experience that. It's something that I've experienced myself and I've heard other people tell me. It's like, well, pastors and lay ministers have said, like, well, you shouldn't be experiencing mental health. You're a Christian, you have God on your side. But they're human beings first and foremost, and they're going to experience the unfortunate ways of the world. So that was my goal, is to just help people understand that it's okay to not be okay sometimes. And we all go through different levels of trauma and mental health issues. And my goal is just to kind of help them and help them advocate for themselves in their healing journey. and give them a safe space to tell their story and feel okay. Know that God is still going to use them no matter what.
Great message. Yeah, great message. I love that you feel like you were called to do this. That's always a good start for a podcaster. Let me just tell you.
Yeah, right. I'm
Yeah,
doing it for the right reasons. That helps.
that's great. It really is. Okay, so I guess, was there anything in your background that sort of led you to get the certification in the mental health trauma that impact your family, or was it just something you were drawn to again? Maybe you were called to do that?
Well, I mean, because I myself I dealt with severe trauma in my childhood. I had um, experienced sexual abuse from a young age, and so I know trauma. I know what it is to be, experience trauma and have that, and it also led to mental health issues, and that's also another thing that um, I touch on is how trauma leads to mental health issues and how to kind of dispel that trauma, that stigma also. So I believe that God is using my trauma and my healing journey to help others in their healing journey. And so I feel like I was definitely called to become a mental health coach because I can relate to other people's trauma. I mean, I may not
Wow.
be able to like totally relate to what they've gone through, but I know what it is to experience trauma and I can empathize with that. Oh,
I had no idea. I'm sorry, but I understand.
yeah.
Yeah, I hope I didn't overstep with that one.
Oh, no, I mean, my goal is to tell my story, however way that God wants me to. And if that helps someone, that that's what it's there for. So,
Good
so
for you.
no, you don't overstep at all.
No, I appreciate that. But seriously, good for you. I mean, that's a whole other aspect to the podcast. So, is the podcast then an extension, an addition to your personal healing journey as well, helping these other folks?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, I didn't realize how much God was going to work in me and heal me through this, but He has so much. It's helped so much in
Wow.
my healing. Yeah.
Right. It's amazing the way he works. It really
Yes,
is.
it is.
Just
It
is.
is.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean that puts a whole new light on the podcast too. And I'll be honest with you, it's one of the reasons why we have this show is so that people can get that deeper message of why they're behind the mic out there. And I applaud you for being willing to share that and do that today. That's awesome.
That's what it's there for. And I can't, for me, I can't, I don't believe I could do this without being able to tell my story, and being able to share that with others, transparency and helping people understand that I've gone through stuff too and I'm not immune to it. So
Yeah.
that's, you know,
Wow.
I have to be for them.
Sure.
So.
Do you have a coaching program that you offer to actually, do you work as a coach in this particular field?
Well, it's like I'm still trying to get that up off the ground. It's like that. I know the podcast is I feel like it's going to be kind of a catalyst to get that up off the ground, and so I'm kind of working on getting that going and stuff like that. So I'm working up some different content and some programming and workbooks and stuff like that to help with that to get that going and get people understanding that not only am I a podcast host, I am also a coach, and I'm willing to personally help you on your journey to heal. So
Nice. Nice. Awesome. All right. So let's talk about the podcast. What is it you do um, on the podcast? Is it bringing awareness to this sort of thing? Is it talking to people who are going through it? What's your content like for people who haven't had a chance to hear it yet?
well, I believe it's like all those things. I I touch on some hard topics, as you've probably heard if listening to it. I go through what trauma can look like, what healing can look like, why we experience trauma, why we experience mental health, and helping people understand um, that we all have some type of experience that we go through, that we all have, whether it be mental health or not. There are some things that we go through that we don't understand, and I try to have people on that can tell their story or that can offer expert, advice. Um, so it's kind of a gamut of all those things. I try to uh, allow people a safe space to come on, you know, say what they need to say also, and be able to encourage others to tell their story and to advocate for themselves, because I think a lot of people with mental health and trauma issues, they, especially as Christians, they don't understand that um, getting help professionally is something that sometimes needed. Even being on medication is sometimes what's needed, and not to be ashamed of it. So
Nice.
that's what I'm there. I'm kind of the triage nurse for that. I kind of help them understand, like, it's okay to seek this, and if it is that bad for you, you need this for yourself in order to heal.
Right.
So
Wow. There's not enough of that out there. There just isn't. So I love that you're doing it. I love that you're going to be someone who's out there in the field doing it, and people are going to be able to come to you for it once you get it all up and running. So um, now, are you going to have a, or do you have a website already, or are you going to have one when it comes out?
I do. I have like a podcast website. Kind of, it's on Milkshake. I have to. I can give you the link to it because it's kind of a weird link. So
Okay.
I have to give it to you to put out there, because I don't, because it has like a weird beginning on it, and it's not, it doesn't say fully milkshake.com. So I'm just like, I have to just write it out for you so you can put it out there, because I don't
Okay.
even.
Well, maybe
So
if you don't mind, maybe you can copy and paste it and send it to me in Messenger after the show, and then I'll copy the link and put it in our show notes. Okay. I didn't hear that last part. Sorry.
oh no, I said I definitely will do that.
Oh, good deal. Good deal. Okay. I just want to make sure we're getting the word out for you. So,
Yeah.
all right. All right. Well, I mean, I appreciate you telling us your story. Wow. Let's talk a little bit about the podcast itself. You're fairly new, but you're already, doing quite a bit of stuff. I did ask you that last question about what you cover because I knew you covered some good stuff. I listened to your episodes. I liked them very much. Very good stuff. And you got a great voice for it too.
Well, thanks.
But yeah, I wanted everybody else to hear it. So when you got started with the podcast, did you go out and buy a bunch of expensive equipment, or did you just go ahead and grab your phone and say, time to start talking?
I just grabbed my phone and I have my earbuds in, and that's pretty much what I'm starting with right now. I'm just kind of, I want to make sure that it's gonna like land, you know, in the right place before I just go out and buy all this expensive stuff. But I don't want to, like, you know, but I feel like because it's, from God, it's gonna succeed. So I just, but I'm just kind of holding off right now. I'm like, I will get there. I just, I don't mind working with humble measures right now. So
Nice. Nice. Okay, good deal. A lot of people start off with just the phone nowadays.
yeah.
So back when I started, we couldn't use the phones yet
Oh yeah.
for this kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I still started really cheap, but man, yeah, if I would have had all the technology we have today, I probably would have just used my phone like forever.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I ever would have bought a mic, but yeah, but I was doing it in the Stone Ages. You know what I mean? You're new, you're younger. It's when you're an old dinosaur like me, you got stories. So
can't be that much older than me.
Well, I'm not going to answer that question. And
I'm not either.
all right, good deal. All right, so let's see. So on in regard to your podcast, I got to quit laughing because I can't ask any questions if I'm laughing right now. Quit telling jokes over there. All right. So you already talked about how you started up. The how does it you go about promoting your show?
I do a lot of promotion on social media, of course, like TikTok and um, Facebook and Instagram. So I kind of like spread it all out. And I also have a bilingual podcast extended Facebook group, which, you know, I allow anyone to join basically. I mean, you don't have to have had to listen to it, but I keep it private because it's kind of like a support group in that sense that I want people to feel safe to come there, and if they have a story to tell it, and without feeling like everybody in the world is going to see, especially if they've had an abuse situation or whatever. I don't want their abuser seeing what they've put on there, So I try to keep it kind of private so that they have a safe space to go to. So, but
Nice.
that's there. And then I also have the Abiding Love mental health coaching page that I do a lot of the coaching stuff on there, like kind of as an extension of the podcast. So
And is that page through Facebook also?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good, good, good. And is there one of those platforms that seems to be working better for you than the other ones? I'm just curious.
I I don't know. I think they all I think Instagram is doing quite well. I feel like Instagram is doing quite well, and also the reach on my TikTok is doing quite well as well. So I seem to have been growing a fan base there. So that's awesome and the right reasons. So
Excellent.
I'm glad I'm reaching the right people.
I like how you said for the right reasons. That okay, excellent. What are your handles on Instagram and TikTok and stuff so in case someone wants to like look you up and connect with you on the social medias?
Oh yeah. I usually it's at Abiding Love MHC. So and that's the so it's Abiding Love MHC, which stands for mental health coaching. So
MHC for mental health coaching. Okay. Abiding Love MHC.
mhm,
All right. And is it that on all three?
it
Oh,
is.
excellent.
That's continuous and streamlined.
Well, it's a lot easier for me to put in the show notes too, so I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
but
It's making my life easier today. I'll take it.
do my
Okay. All right. And so, what's been your experience so far? I know you've got some ads on your podcast already, even at your young stage.
best.
What's been your experience with monetizing and monetization?
Well, I just started that. I was really kind of hesitant about the possibility of monetizing it because I was like, I don't want it. I don't want that to be the main reason why I'm doing it. Um, but I was encouraged by one of my pastors at church who listened to it one day and said, "Hey, I listened to your podcast. Can we talk?" I was like, okay. I wasn't sure how that was gonna go.
Right.
I told him and I was like, "Well, I'm not sure if I want to monetize." He's like, "I encourage you, please, monetize it." I'm like, "Okay, sure." So my host platform is on Spreaker, so they invited me to do their ad exchange program. So that's how I started that. That's how I started with monetizing there. So I haven't done a whole lot yet because I just started that. So it's
Right.
still growing. So I'm hoping it will continue to because mostly the monetization factor is mostly to help grow the ministry, grow um, the concept of what I'm trying to do, and help and be able to have a resource to help others. So that's the main point of why I would monetize.
Nice.
So,
Okay. So your pastor pulled you aside and wanted to talk to you about monetization.
Well, he didn't talk to me about monetization. He wanted to talk to me about the podcast itself and like what my goal is. And because he is a mental health counselor, he's going he's in graduating as a mental health counselor very I think in May, and he's wanting to start a mental health program, ministry program within the church, and that's why he asked me to do that. So we are going to be hopefully starting that pretty soon. And we haven't said anything to anyone in the church because it's still kind of like, I think we're just trying to get all our ducks in a row first before we get that out into the public and trying to figure out all the logistics of it before we actually say, hey, yeah, we're doing this. So, but yeah, no, I was like totally floored when he presented that to me because that's what I had wanted to do in the church. And I was like, yes, 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 please, yes. I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. So yeah, that was like definitely another God thing. And it was awesome. So,
Nice. Very nice. I like that. Now you do realize, Brandy, that you're a guest on a podcast right now. So
uh-huh.
you did just sort of let the cat out of the bag on that idea.
Yeah, but yeah, yeah, but I shouldn't say like everything. And so, I just, you know, but we'll see how it goes. That's all I'm gonna say. We'll see how it goes.
Let me follow this up right now on air. Okay, I'll go ahead and say this for you. If we've got a few weeks backlog anyway. Okay, so it's not
Yeah,
coming out tomorrow, but
good.
if you need me to hold this for a little while before you break the news, you just let me
Right.
know, and I'll hold it back till you're ready, and then we'll throw it out there. Okay?
So yeah, I mean he's graduating in May, so hopefully we'll be able to get things going pretty soon after that. So
Okay, good deal. I just want to point that out to you. It's, it's
I
just-
appreciate that because I was like, well, yeah, you're right, but it is what it is now.
right. This happens all the time, though. Podcasters in general aren't used to being in your chair.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh my gosh, I just said that on a podcast.
Oh yeah, I did just do that, didn't I?
Oh, I just told the whole world. Whoops.
I mean, it's it's okay. I mean, I just I mean, if it's not gonna go out like tomorrow or anything, that I'm good with that.
No,
So
you're good. As a matter of fact, I will check with you. We'll be okay, and we'll put it up. And then if you need more time, you just go, hey, bump me back a little bit, will you? Okay, we'll do what we can. All right, excellent.
yeah.
All right, good deal. Well, thank you for that answer about the monetization. That's really cool. So the ad buy through Spreaker, I'm very familiar with. I understand that. Have you done any other stuff? I know you're putting together a course that you want to probably market, and stuff, but that's not done yet, right?
No, that's still in the works. I'm also working on some bonus content over. I do have a Patreon, and I'm hoping to create some bonus content, and I have like a subscription service over there. It's like two tiers. It's like very, very simple. So one is just like a basic tier, friend of abiding love, and it's like $4.99 a month, and that's just for like basic support. And then you also get like a little. I'm working on merch, so um, we're gonna do like a little laptop vinyl sticker, Tumblr sticker to say thank you for subscribing. And the other tier is more has more benefits. So you'll get the bonus content, you'll get the shout out, you'll get the ability to voice your opinion on any future content that I put out. So it also has some free digital merch downloads that I'm going to do, like any kind of coaching workbooks or something like that. So I'm going to be
Awesome.
putting that up. So,
Great. That's awesome. All right, cool. Okay. So we talked about monetization. I mean, you're already kind of rocking. I love Patreon.
yeah.
So nice there. Nice job there. All right. So then we talked about how you promote, we talked about monetization. let me go ahead and hit you with my corny question real quick because I
Okay.
want to see what you have to say about this. Um, top five answers on the board over here.
Sounds good.
The what is it about doing your podcast that you love the most, and what is it about
Okay.
doing your podcast that you just, and I know it's a strong word, but that you hate the most?
Okay. The part I love the most is being able to help and serve others and being able to know that I am reaching who it needs to reach. So, and the part that I hate the most is trying to come up with episode ideas. sometimes that sometimes it hits me and I'm like, oh great, I could use that as an episode. Sometimes I'm like, oh God, what am I gonna do now?
Nice, nice, good
Oh
answer.
yeah.
Good answer. I'm glad that you brought up the content, of your show and ideas for episodes. You haven't put out any interview episodes yet, but by the time this comes out, you will. So you're
Yeah,
going to be doing both, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I have several scheduled that is going to be on my podcast, and I have a few scheduled I'm going to be on other people's podcasts. So I'm doing, everything I can to get it out there.
Nice. Excellent. Okay. Now, which one do you prefer? And what do you like? What do you find easier in terms of doing the solo episode versus doing the interview?
I feel like doing an interview, I can like work off someone, you know what I mean? I can, kind of use them to lead into like what I'm going to say next, because like on my solo episodes, I pretty much write out everything because otherwise I go down the rabbit hole and we never get out. So, so I like doing the guest interviews. Of course, yesterday was my first one, and I had a few glitches, trying to figure out how to do Zoom, and I was like, well, okay, Zoom is not going to work on my phone because I don't know how to record on it, and so I said, okay, we'll go to StreamYard. So StreamYard seems to work pretty good for right now, at least until I get better equipment. So, but right now, yeah, I kind of like both. I mean, I like being able to have a certain topic that I discuss and write out, and I try to not read verbatim off my script because that just sounds a little too impersonal. But having a guest on the show helps me to um, be able to interact with someone else. So I'm not just talking to myself.
Nice. Nice. Good deal. Good deal. I'm glad you're going to have both. That definitely helps your podcast grow. So good for you. All right. All right. Well, last question. The I usually end with giving out a piece of advice. I know that you're young in terms of how long you've been doing the podcast, but even at 5, 6 episodes, you're still you've overcome something. You've run into some issues, I'm sure, starting up and getting going. So, what's one piece of advice you have for anybody who is not where you are yet? Maybe they haven't started, maybe they've started and they haven't hit these issues yet. What's one thing you can kind of leave behind for everybody today?
Well, I think, if you're like just starting that podcast or thinking about starting a podcast, just do it. You know, just you don't have to have expensive equipment as I've as I've been an example to. I mean, you don't have to have the mic or the computer or anything like that. You can just use your phone and just do it. Just start because you know it just it takes a lot of courage to get yourself out there. But overcoming that fear is something you just have to do it. You just have to start. And I mean, because when I started, I was terrified. I was like, oh. Like I said in one of my podcast episodes, like I think it was like the very first I said, I kind of had a Moses moment there. It's like I'm not a good speaker. It's like, what do you want? You want me to do this? So try to overcome that fear and just say, God, you know, you want me to do this? Give me the words. So if you're a believer and you follow Christ, if He's led you to do this, then ask Him. Say, you want me to do this, God? You give me the words, and that's pretty much how I had to do it. Had to have
Nice.
the courage to do it because, yeah, I don't think I would have done it on my own.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Great advice. Great advice. Um, are you a member of our The Podcaster Nation group yet?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember if I sent you an invite for that or not. I feel like I'm a goof right now. I'm gonna.
No, I mean, if you haven't, I mean, just send it to me anyway, and I'll see if I have joined or not. So yeah,
Yeah,
just
I'll shoot that to you over in Messenger, just because I'd love to have you in our group, exchanging ideas with people. Think would help you. So.
absolutely,
All right.
absolutely.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you for that final piece of advice. I love just start and follow God. I'm not sure you can get better advice than that. So,
Yeah.
wonderful. All right. So hey, host of Abiding Love, Brandy Pursley. Brandy, thank you so much for being on the show today and sharing everything you did. You were an absolute delight.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully we can do this again.
I would love that. I'm sure we'll talk again at some point. Right on. That sounds good. All right, folks, this has been another episode of The Podcaster Nation with another awesome podcaster. Folks, this is the show that is about podcasters. It's for podcasters and it's done by podcasters. This is the place where we all come together. This is the place where the rising tide raises all ships. So keep sailing.